Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online. G'day, I'm Fletch and welcome as I bring you back once again to the beautiful Hershey region of Pennsylvania. This is the USA trip for 2023 and it's thanks to Shannons. And you're about to see just some of the Hershey Swap Meet in this week's episode of Classic Restos. The Hershey Swap Meet. It's one of the biggest swap meets in the world. The Hershey region began hosting this show back in 1955 when diner food was delivered to the door of your car by a waitress on roller skates. It's kicked off as a buyer's dream hit each year ever since. The meet is located in beautiful Hershey, Pennsylvania, on the grounds and parking lots surrounding Hershey Park and the Giant Center. Hershey is considered one of the largest antique automobile shows and flea markets in the United States. And I still cannot get my head around a flea market because every time I buy a flea, I lose the damn thing. But the thrill of the chase is never ending. And most times you end up buying stuff you never even thought of. There is literally miles to walk here, with rows like a cornfield, consisting of everything imaginable that has to do with all things automotive, memorabilia, and more. And this exclusive episode will show you just some. Let's go take a look. Hershey Swap Meet is massive. You can always tell when a swap meet is big, especially when there is a bridge and it's on both sides of a main road. Time for Terry. How you doing?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Good. Are you having fun?
Yes, I am.
I've noticed your chrome over there, the bars.
Yes, the bumpers. We have a bunch of core bumpers over there from probably 40-year-old re-chromes that we're trying to sell today.
What's that stuff like now in the USA to try and get a hold of?
Some of it's pretty tough, the bumper-wise. A lot of it's gone to scrap.
It's good to see that you got some original stuff here still on the ground. Yes. It's kind of sad to think that some of the stuff that's left goes to scrap.
Yes, in fact, since I was 8 years old, we ran a salvage yard, one of the largest in Pennsylvania. So I crushed a lot of stuff in my time when I was a kid.
There'd be stuff that you'd look back on, almost probably bring you to tears now.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because some of the stuff you see brings good money. I know I ran it through the car crusher years ago.
Terry, I hope you do really well here this weekend at Hershey. I hope you move those bars over there and keep up your great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Fletch. Same to you.
Got this guy walking down pulling his cart. How you doing, Vince?
Okay, Fletch. How are you today?
Good. Tell us, what have you got?
Well, this is kind of a one-of-a-kind. I've certainly never seen one here. And we talked to the gentleman that owned it, and he didn't know a lot about it. It's German-made here. The quick look-up I did, it's supposedly one of the oldest sodas ever made.
The most exciting part about this, Vince, is when you go back home and you get on the computer and do your research.
Research. This is it's just an outstanding piece. I walked by it. We kind of made a deal. I got halfway up the aisle and said, I got to go back there. I'm going to be thinking about it all night if I don't buy it.
Vince, this is really early on the first day. You're going to have to get yourself another cart because you're nearly done here.
I'm going to have to go unload. I can see that, Fletch.
Moving through, time for Denise now. How are you?
I'm very good, Fletch. How are you?
Wonderful. This looks very creative, what you have here.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
How long have you been doing it for?
Actually been doing it for 45 years, but have been in business for 33 years.
Wonderful. Okay, explain how it works. What do you do?
Well, we actually do custom airbrushing and pinstriping on any kind of car, vehicle, truck, flea, anything you can think of. So we do a little bit of everything for anything.
One thing about Hershey, lots of variety.
Correct. Absolutely. Many different avenues down here.
Tell us about the Harley Davidson bike up there.
Oh, yes. We had a 1910 barn find. It was to look like, but it was actually one that we painted to make look like a barn find. We painted dents in it, we painted rust in it, and people thought it was actually a real old 1910 Harley Davidson.
When we look at the tanks, the resolution, the clarity, the definition, it's just perfect.
Oh, well, thank you very much. The airbrush, we can handle a lot with the airbrush to make things be very illusional and realistic and come to fruition.
Denise, wonderful catching up with you. I hope you do well this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fletch. I appreciate it.
Getting around the clever stuff. That's what it's all about. We're at Nostalgia Sid's. And here we have the man himself, Sid. How you doing?
How you doing, Fletch?
I'm great. I love your work here. I love these dropped axles. They look really neat.
Well, thank you. We've been doing this for 18 years now.
I believe you send a lot of stuff to Australia.
Yes, we send a lot of stuff to Australia for the guys to lower their pickups.
Now, not only, Sid, do you have the dropped axles, but also the lower hangers there for the shackles.
Yes, we make those too in-house.
To see the presentation there lined up there on the asphalt, they look really good. It also suggests that there's a bit of call for this stuff, right?
Yes, there is. We do 30 to 40 axles a month.
So obviously, Sid, you must have yourself a nice fabrication shop.
Yes, we have a pretty good fabrication shop. We use a rosebud to heat up our axles, and we drop one end at a time, and then we turn it around and do the other end.
Yep. Good for you. Awesome stuff. Well, that's just what you can see here at the Swap Meet. It just goes and goes. Now, to find out more about the fine work that Sid does, you can check him out at droppedaxles.com. Thanks, Sid.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much, Fletch.
You're welcome, buddy.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes, from the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannons, we understand enthusiasts, so when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannons. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
When it comes to cars, there are some brands that will remain with us forever, no matter what. The Holden was always Australia's own car, held high in the hearts of many. Those lines, that chrome, the stories around them, and the people that owned them. From the classic through to the final, you can still trust in genuine Holden and AC Delco parts, available through the Holden Certified Service Network. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great, Fletch.
Thank you. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh my God, yes. It's a great weather condition. Last year was a little rough, about 2.5 days of rain, so everything's good, Fletch.
I got a comment, Paul. I love your crash helmet.
Oh, thank you. Well, we get hurt sometimes out here. When some people are trying to buy some stuff from us, and they get a little rowdy. So.
Yeah. Okay. Now, on that note, you've got some beautiful stuff here. Some of the bright work there, some hood ornaments. Run us through just some of the stuff you've got here on display, Paul.
Sure, Fletch. Over to the right there are a bunch of Desoto hood ornaments from 1927 through the 30s, and to the left is This was all my collection, my personal collection, Fletch, is the Pontiacs from 1948 throughout 55.
And how many years have you been collecting for?
I've been collecting over 40 years. I've been here probably almost 50 years.
And I guess 40 years ago it was fairly easy to come by these things.
Yes, sir. They're very easy to come by. That's why my collection is so large. But now it's Fletch, few and far between.
Right. So if you went to start today to try and collect those, it'd be a totally different ball game, wouldn't
It'd
it?
be a totally different ball game as far as monetarily and to find them. It's just
Some of the condition too, and I think it's nice, the original pieces, to have that, the pitting that you can see through the chrome. It's original, it's die cast, no treatment apart from polishing over the years. That's the real deal, that stuff.
yeah, yes, I agree, Fletch. Some of them have the chrome that are pitted, and some people like that. The other ones, especially the Pontiac hood ornaments, they're some new old stock. I mean, right from the factory back in the 1948. So naturally they'll be charged. The cost is a lot more, Fletch.
It must break your heart to hear stories such as take the Packard plant, for example. You know, what a magnificent time, and that building and the enormity of that, and the production that would have gone on in those times.
And also, Fletch, the creativeness. I mean, somebody had to create this.
It's just beautiful stuff. It's quite therapeutic when you do the browse and you take it all in. Some different things here that you might not see in Australia, for example, and other countries around the world as well. So, Paul, nice meeting you, and wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Fletch. Take care of yourself.
You know, getting around speaking to people that have traditionally come to this Hershey event for many, many decades, it's interesting to hear what they say. It's not always about the cars or the parts or the memorabilia. It's about the people. It's the camaraderie. Everybody that comes here is on the same page, and that's what makes these events just so special. Corey, how you doing?
Good, Fletch. How you doing today?
Great. I love your display here. You got stuff everywhere. What's going on?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff. That's all I can say. There's a lot of stuff.
How many years have you been collecting this?
Well, actually, it wasn't me that started this. It was my grandfather that started it. He started this. He started coming here I think in the early 1960s. My first time here, I understand I was 4. I was born in 65, so I guess I've been coming since 1969. And I've hustled a lot of fenders over those years. Truck side panels, wheels, tires, and we still have massive quantities of stuff, but every year we come down, and this is just a week long. It's a pilgrimage. Sure. It's like coming to Mecca for a week. Wouldn't miss it. I think I missed it once in my life, and I vowed I would never do it again until my health fails. So.
And you have some fun along the way. You've got some characters with you in the back here.
Oh yeah. No, this is a comedy show. It's a week-long party, really. These guys are having a great time.
You mentioned your grandfather. It goes way back with him collecting stuff, so it's almost family heirloom stuff here.
It is. I mean, we've been doing this so long, I just can't imagine not doing it. And I've had my kids down there, although it's just 2 old guys down here, me and my brother-in-law this year, along with a couple of Hanyaks with us. But I don't have any kids, so nobody's carrying the fenders.
Careful with the old guy a bit, because we're the same age.
I don't feel that old. I know I look that old, but I don't feel that old.
You're doing okay, Corey. Okay, so with what we see here, with stuff lying everywhere, you've got it fairly neat. You've got it in racks and what have you. So what do you sell the most of? Give us a rundown on the stuff that moves the most.
Well, this year it's small stuff. The smalls seem to be going, and it's odds and ends, because when my grandfather and father were doing this sort of stuff, what they did was you bought out a dealership, you bought out all their old stock. So if you imagine walking into the back room and there's a corner and they say, all right, well, I'll pay you X, but you got to take it all. And you have to take it all. So we take it all. I sold a bunch of antennas and speedometer cables and accelerator cables and weird things, But that's what, and unless you get them out, they don't go. These things don't go well on the internet.
Give us a rundown on the brand that you cover here. So mainly Ford.
Mostly Ford. I have a little bit of General Motors and a touch of Mopar stuff, but mostly what my grandfather enjoyed and my father enjoyed and what I enjoyed were Ford, old Ford parts, new old stock Ford parts.
I guess it gives you a good feeling every time you sell something too, because you know it's gone to a good home. You know that the person obviously wants that to, whether to keep their vehicle on the road or a current restoration, and it's paying it forward in a way, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And shows like yours really help us, because otherwise the stuff ends up in a landfill. And we don't want to see that. I mean, this is all stuff that in most cases, well, I think in almost every case, Americans made these parts for the American car market. And we somehow, through the fates, ended up with it, which is cool. But it's nice to see it get used. I mean, we need to repurpose all of these things as opposed to just, and unfortunately that only happens to a fraction of the things out there.
The American market and the history is very important, because even in Australia we have to realise that our great Australian cars that we had made there, our Ford Falcons and our Holdens and our Chryslers, our Valiants, the big three in Australia, were derivatives of the United States. So without you guys we would never have got those cars.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're so the world is so interconnected, and we're all in this together. So it's great that we've got such an interest, and I hope it continues. I worry about, are the younger generations really going to kind of latch onto this the way you and I have? We don't really get to own them. We're just custodians of these, and I have a number of cars as well. But I realize that someday they'll have to be passed to somebody. And that's why we really need to get kids in this hobby as much as we can.
Get rid of all your parts, get all the cash in the bank, and while you can, right?
Fletch, it doesn't work that way. No, it takes years to get rid of stuff. We carry stuff for years. My brother-in-law gets a little frustrated with me at times, but it's okay. It's fun.
It might make you feel better, because when you move on one day, if you know all these parts have gone to a good home, that's going to make a big difference, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's nice to see things get, and what we're also seeing is people are repurposing things, garage art. So it doesn't have to be restoring that '68 Galaxy.
That's the thing that you've just touched on a good point there, like the man caves and like a bar at home, and have a bit of automotive stuff around your bar. You've got stuff here that's ornaments, doesn't necessarily have to go back onto a car.
No, that's exactly right. I see people take vintage hubcaps with rust and the patina, turn it into a clock. I see people take Model A radiator shells, and they'll take the radiator shell, they'll build a cabinet kind of inside of it and with shelves, and they'll hang it on the wall, and they'll put their knickknacks inside of a Model A radiator shell.
This is a market, what you're just touching on now, that is a market, I must admit, that I haven't really given much thought to. You see all these parts and you instantly think, right, okay, the guys are restoring, but of course it's the man cave market as well, and that's fantastic. Corey, it's a pleasure catching up with you. This is day 2, this is Wednesday of the swap meet, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you, Fletch, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
They may not be making the classic Holden anymore, but the legacy lives on. You can still have a Holden certified service using genuine Holden and AC Delco quality parts at over 180 centres across Australia. Go to holden.com.au to find your nearest centre. Book your Holden in, maintain the pride. And how incredible is this? If you own a classic or two, it's probably not a bad idea to have them insured with Shannons. Why not pick up the phone and give Shannons a call for a quote and a chat on 134646. And of course the Shannons Club awaits you. For more information as to how to sign up and become a member of the Shannons Club, visit shannons.com.au and experience Australia's largest automotive online hub. And of course here at the Hershey Swap there are cars for sale at the car corral. We're just over to one side. This is just a one-off here. This might not be everyone's cup of tea, but have a go at this. A 1979 Cadillac station wagon. Look at that. It's got a bit of rust in it, but it's just one of these cars that are hard to come by. Very rare, but this is the sort of stuff that you can stumble upon here at Hershey. Like, check this for example, a 1921 Mercer. It's been in the same family since 1937. No, it's not for sale.
What Hershey means to me is it's an event it's known around the world. It's been running since I think the 1950s, and I've heard about it over many years, and I'd always wanted to attend. You know, I thought this sounds like a fantastic swap meet. I've been to swap meets in Australia, I've been to plenty of those, and I've been to some pretty big ones, but I heard this was the biggest in the world, and I thought I need to go there and check that out myself. So a few years ago, 2018 was my first year, and then 19, and then obviously we had a big gap in the middle there, and it's fantastic to be back, you know, in 2023, just to check it out. And you know, it doesn't matter what your passion or your interest is. You know, there's something for everyone here, whether it's actual cars, parts, books, magazines, brochures, models, a whole lot of memorabilia, old signs, all the stuff that I actually collect myself. You know, it's here on a mega scale. And the other great thing is just the people you meet, you know, some wonderful characters, the generosity. I mean, as an example, I bought a very nice model the other day, and I didn't have the cash on me, and I said I want to leave a deposit, and I told the guy I'll come back the next day. He said, no, it was $300 US, it wasn't small change. He said, no, you take the model, and I trust you, come back and pay me the next day. And it didn't matter how many times I said, no, that's fine. He insisted, so that's what I did. And that's just the generosity of people here, the friendliness of people here. It's really good. So I just recommend, you know, if you're a motoring enthusiast, you really want to make sure you attend Hershey. It's just such a wonderful event.
We are in a spectacular little tent here. How are you, John?
I'm good, thank you, Fletch.
Great stuff. Hey, have a go at this. Mechanical fuel injection systems for Corvettes, and you do the reconditioning work yourself, John?
Yes, I do. We've been doing it for over 40 years, and we do the fuel injections, the carburetors, hot rod setups, intakes, manifolds, and related stuff.
That is amazing. The workmanship, it looks so good. Just run us through just some of the stuff that you've got here.
Well, I've got fuel injections from 1957 through 65. We've got intakes and carburetors from 57 through 72, and related parts to do with Corvettes mostly.
I noticed 3 2-barrel carbs there on the intakes as well. The anodizing work looks superb.
Yes, everything is recolored, replated, and correct for an original car.
John, now with the mechanical fuel injection, they take a bit to set up, don't they?
They do, but before I deliver a unit, I put it on an engine and we test run it, both the early units and the late. I have 2 engines set up for test running these.
You've been selling now 50 years, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're not done yet.
Well, it's still fun and it keeps me going. So as long as my health holds up.
Yes. John, you just keep doing what you're doing best, because I love this stuff. This is rare stuff. Mechanical fuel injection at the best of times is rare. Here in the United States, here at the Hershey Swap for 2023, it's just lined up here in front of us. As John said, the intakes there on display, and some carbies over there as well. John, keep up your great work. I really love what you do.
Thank you, Fletch.
Well, that'll give you just some idea of the enormity of the swap meet here in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And next week's show, there is more content from the United States coming your way as Mark from Shannons and myself cross the USA for 2023. And of course, it's thanks to Shannons. I hope you're enjoying it. Until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch. Thanks for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can sign up to be a member of the Shannons Club, your local Holden certified service centre, Pace Farm the enjoyable egg, and Heron Forbes Machinery House, where you can buy online.